Josh, coming off the series this weekend, how do you feel about your team heading into a week with Bedlam in West Virginia?
Um, well, I feel good about the team. I mean, I didn't feel, coming back from the trip to Texas a week ago, where we definitely had some ups and downs, but lost a couple of close games, and I was really proud of the way we fought back in the Tech series. Both losses, we had the tying run up in the ninth inning with two outs. So even though we didn't get the results we wanted in terms of a series, we did compete well, and on that Friday night played particularly well. The game Tuesday night last week was a tough one for us, but I thought the team showed a great amount of maturity in the way that they responded this weekend. So I think when you just follow the trend of the team and the way the kids are handling themselves, the attitude they displayed, those are all real positive markers for me. So I feel good about the way the team is growing, adjusting, and learning. Those things are all part of the season that hopefully makes you better as you go and makes you better at the end. So those things are all ongoing, and very challenging weekend against Kansas State. Their pitching at the front is as good as advertised. And I thought those were high level games. And I was really proud of the way we found ways to win Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I feel good about all those things. And I'm proud of the way we're staying the course and not getting discouraged if things don't go our way at particular times.
Hello.
If you may have addressed this over the weekend, but I know you changed your rotation up and you got Bryce going tomorrow. What went into that decision, and what do you think about Bryce facing Bedlam as a freshman as a starter?
Well, we were just really trying to look at the next spread of games. The three with Kansas State, the Oklahoma game, and the three with West Virginia, and just trying to position our kids and our team to all be as prepared as possible to stabilize games with our starting rotation, to match up based on kind of who we knew the opponents were. And, just from that standpoint, give ourselves a little bit more time as well with some guys to get some work in. And this was the way where we felt like the arms fit best in the matchups with Kansas State and then OU, and then behind that West Virginia. So no real rhyme or reason for it other than that was the rhythm. Justin had not pitched but 2 innings in the past 10 days. So we needed to get him back to the mound and get him stretched back out again. And so this was the arrangement. Feel good about it. You got to have a good quality structure each time you go out there to eat up the bulk of the game, and then to keep the bullpen in position to be effective. So that's kind of how we put that 7-game plan together last Thursday, and that's where we're at.
And I think you addressed Christian yesterday a little bit. Can you kind of walk me through how you guys recruited him and kind of found him? Because he's kind of, JUCO guy, and all that power is pretty impressive.
Yes, he's a powerful kid, no doubt. And Christian's from Yavapai College, which has been awfully good to Oklahoma State. I mean, it gave us Gary Ward, and essentially I should be grateful because he brought my parents with him. And so Yavapai College is a great baseball junior college in Arizona. We've got a long pipeline there at Yavapai over the years from Coach Ward's days, and many, many other players that have come through here. So he's a guy that had a big freshman year at Yavapai, and Coach Lees did a great job last year in recruiting him. And we're super excited that he got to campus. And we knew he had big power in his hands, and we knew he was a high-level defender. He does a lot of things very well in the field, and you're seeing a lot of those things start to show up on a consistent basis. He's playing good baseball. It's just no doubt about it. He's playing very good baseball right now.
I know Matt, obviously, with his track record, is that kind of the guy that he helps unlock even more power with?
Well, they've certainly spent a lot of time together in the batting cage. I think that Matt's experience as a big framed right-handed hitter at the highest level, trying to understand how to access your power and use the whole field. Christian's hit home runs this year all the way from the right field corner to the left field corner, and he's hit several to straight away in the big part of the field. So he's strong, and hitting the ball to all fields helps you access your power. Whereas if you're solely one-sided in terms of trying to pull all the time, there might be a lot of pitches you can't drive and get to your power potential. So Christian has worked hard in the batting cage. He's taken to some of the good suggestions that have been provided to him to help him become a more complete hitter. And he's starting to put more and more quality swings on the ball that not just leave the ballpark, but also translate into RBIs. And the other night, he got up in the first inning and drove a ball to deep right center for a sac fly. It was a beautiful swing. It was exactly what he needed to do. He kept the ball off the ground. He's just starting to look more and more comfortable in situations and really starting to trust his swing and having a very professional approach to what he's doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome.
Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good, Ben.
Hey, well, I'll also ask you a little bit about Christian. And the number that I just couldn't help but smile at on that roster was 430. That was his batting average his sophomore year in JUCO. Coach, is that a number that just kind of jumped off to you and Coach Lee's as a number where we have to go get this guy? What kind of turned you on to Christian exactly?
Well, the recruiting of Christian went on in the fall of his sophomore year before that season. So his freshman year, he did well. I want to say he put up double-digit home run totals in junior college with a wooden bat. But he was a known player out of high school, ended up at Yavapai College. He's a Northern California native. So there had been some exposure to him. I think Marty had seen him some in high school. So when you see guys on the field that play third base that have big, strong bodies like he does, that move around and throw really well, you're immediately intrigued by that, because those are hard athletes to find. And then when you see him pick up a bat, his hands are very, very strong. So those are two or three things right there that rarely do you walk away from them. So we're glad that Christian chose Oklahoma State. We're glad that he gave our coaching staff a chance to be part of his baseball development and trusted us. And yeah, I'd say he's had a lot of markers on him that are good. I mean, whether it's great size, agility, strong throwing arm, and obviously a lot of raw power in his swing. And he did perform in junior college. You're right. He had good statistics. So those things all stood out.
Now, what are some tangible differences between, I think it's the Arizona Community College Athletic Conference and the Big 12? How much harder are the guys throwing? How much more difficult are those plays at third for him?
Well, I mean, I always tell the kids, you can only play well in the place that you're in. And he played well in junior college. He played well in that league. He played well against that competition, which I think is very good. Junior college baseball, and they use wood bats, so it's a different game, and that you got to be very dialed in with your swing in order to drive the ball with a wooden bat. So he played very well at that level against good competition. He would probably tell you that he's seen an uptick in the type of pitching that he's facing here in the Big 12. That's a natural progression that you go through each time you climb levels. And this year, the Big 12 pitching is very good. So I think he's seeing some really good pitching. I think he's adjusting to it. And then I think probably defensively at third base, how hard the ball gets hit. It's just fractions of a second that are the difference between those hard hit balls at third. So he's got the quickness in his body and, the ability to make those adjustments. But I think there's always a learning curve every level you go up, from high school to college or junior college to major Division I baseball. There's a learning curve, but he seems to be on schedule with it.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Josh, what's kind of the scout on Oklahoma this year?
Probably spend a lot of time on that here today and this evening and into tomorrow morning. We just finished last night. So they always have a good roster of players. They've always had really good talent. Their coaches have been there together now going on, I think, 3 or 4 years. So they're in unison and have good camaraderie of what they're doing with their team. I think to their credit, they've played a difficult schedule and traveled a lot. So their team is definitely taken on the 2021 season bravely and played really good competition. And they always seem to have a very skilled pitching staff. And it looks like they're off to a great start on offense. So it looks like a well-rounded team to me on paper. Haven't had an opportunity to really watch them on film yet, but we'll do so today. But I assure you they'll be very athletic on the field. They got a number of kids back from years past that we know are really good athletes. So it should be more of what we've seen over the years, just great baseball, two good teams going at it.
Bedlam's always, a fun series for the fans and stuff like that. Is it more fun here with it being in the new stadium?
I think it'll be fun. Yeah. I think I mean, the crowds have been great so far here. New setting for what should be great baseball. I think that's always been the case. These are midweek games that elevate the adrenaline and emotion that sometimes a midweek game coming off of a challenging weekend, you gotta get the engines going again. And I think this is great for both teams because the kids are going to be on point to compete, and the coaches will be prepared. So fans should have a beautiful night tomorrow night to come out and watch.
This is the first time in a while that you guys aren't playing in the pro parks this year. Is that COVID related? Kind of what went into that?
No, I don't really think it was COVID related. I think there's been a desire for a while now that that these games are very collegiate in nature. They're both our venue and in Norman, upgrades to both facilities, obviously with our new stadium, but also with the upgrades and adjustments they've made in Norman and plan to make, that these games would be a great fit back on campus. And that one of the games this year will be in Tulsa over at the beautiful AA Stadium. The later game, the fifth additional game, but the actual midweek game that we're playing tomorrow has been on back and forth on our campuses now since I've been back. The 3-game series, the conference series, has been alternating between the pro stadiums. That one this year will alternate between Stillwater and Norman. And then, I think it's a good move. I think our venue here, when we can host Bedlam, will be full for whatever capacity we're allowed. And I think when we play Norman, it will be as well. And I like it personally. I do. I think it's the road series and the games in the professional parks serve both programs great for a long, long time. But I like where this is at now and feel good about playing it both here and in Norman.
Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Josh? Or
I'll ask Josh on Bryce going against OU. How much do you think that means to an in-state kid that's so young?
Well, I mean, I always thought, I think that if you've grown up in Oklahoma, you have an awareness level that maybe a kid who grew up, let's just say in California or Florida, maybe isn't as familiar with the excitement that surrounds it when OSU and OU play each other in sports. But I would hope it would be a good excitement, the kind of excitement that elevates you as a performer, the kind of excitement that gives you a chance to grow. And man, just these are moments. That's why you go to college, why you play. Moments. I mean, chance to go out there and do something you love to do, which is compete and do it in a great setting and do it against really, really good competition where everybody tends to pay a little bit closer attention to the results of those Tuesday games when it's OSU OU, right? Those are all pluses in my book and should be things that Bryce and all of our kids look forward to. So I think it'll be a really good experience for him. And I think he'll do well. No doubt about that.
I know he pitched well in Tulsa over the summer and he pitched in big games during the weekends. Is that a reason that you think he's ready for this too?
Hold on real quick.
You're fine.
Sorry. Somebody called me, right? Somebody called me. I didn't know how to decline that. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. I apologize for my 5-month-old in the background here. So
he did pitch well this summer. And he's pitched well. Definitely he's had a couple of really outstanding outings this year too. I thought his outing against Vanderbilt in particular was very clutch for our team, and that it followed a tough Saturday where we really needed a great outing and he delivered. So there's a very visible growth curve in Bryce that you can follow. His work the last week has been awesome as far as the way he's gone about his side work and his bullpen work, his catch play. So I think he's pretty dialed in. I think his growth as a pitcher, his stuff and his ceiling, all those things are very high. I think Bryce is he's progressing just like you'd want a young, very talented arm with great upside. I mean, I think he's really starting to blossom in terms of the skill that kid with his type of arm strength and arm talent. Now they add to that the skill that he's developing to go with it. It's a pretty good package, really is.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. And sorry about the 5-month-old in the background making some noise back here for you.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Coach, I'll hop in for one kind of boring one, but fairly straightforward. Why is Bedlam so fun? and why is it so easy, I guess, to get up for it?
Well, I mean, I think if you always think back to, I remember when I was little playing Little League, when someone would come watch you play, you got excited. I remember being a little boy here, and every now and then the players would come watch me play a T-ball game or a Little League game, and there'd be 5 of them there, and I wanted to do good so they could see that I was a good player. And then as you got older, if people would come watch you play, it was exciting. Like I remember the first time a college coach ever came to see me play a baseball game, I was 10 feet tall that day. So I think there's always been something about a performer. When people come watch you play, you want to rise to the occasion. And it's a heck of a lot more fun to play in front of 3,000 or 4,000 people than it is 300 or 400 people, right? So there's just a natural elevation in who you are as a performer, that when people are there, you want to be at your best. That's a pride thing. I think I want to do my best every time out. And the more people that are watching me, I want to make sure I don't fail. I want to deliver. I want to be my best. And so I just think that's the competitor in all of us, whether it's you getting ready to do a newscast where you want to be your very best, you want to deliver. And then the more people that are watching, you want to make sure you put your best effort out there. So I think these games bring out that pride in who you are as a performer. You want to put your best effort out there. And when you're doing it on behalf of your school and your team against another really, really good opponent like OU, you want to do it because you want to win the game. And those things drive, I think, your internal awareness level and just make you try to be as on point as humanly possible, right? So I think that's just alive in all of us when we compete. And I think that's what we're talking about here.
You mentioned college. So how is the rivalry elevated or stayed the same or I don't know, since you played? Is it similar to when you were playing, you think? The rivalry, the hatred, if you will?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's the same. I think the rivalry is still really good. I don't think the hatred and some of the things that used to maybe go off in the 80s and 90s, I don't see that anymore. I think a lot of the kids on both teams have long rooted friendships that are very meaningful to them. They grew up playing together. They've known each other. I think the competition is fierce. I think the desire to win is like it's always been. I don't personally sense that hatred. I think it's healthier than it used to be. There were a number of times when games, ended up in fight situations. I don't like that. I think what people want to see is good old fashioned baseball, kids throwing the ball hard, hitting it hard, playing hard, and something exciting on the field that's more representative of that. That'd be my personal opinion on it. I think back in the day that was a little bit more of the tone of college sports then that I don't think it is now. Do I think it's a healthy rivalry? Heck yeah. I think you're going to see some really darn good baseball players on the field tomorrow night going against each other, but I think it's good baseball. I think we've chosen to play 5 times this year, 2 non-conference games to go with the 3 conference games, plus the potential to play each other in the conference tournament. So both Coach Johnson and myself have been very supportive of these games for the right reasons. It's good baseball. It's good for the teams. It's good for our schedules. It's good for our fans. And we want it to be great baseball. I would think that that's, where the series is at and where the rivalry is at. Quite honestly, I believe it's in a good place.
Josh, I just wanted to clarify that late non-conference game you said is going to be in Tulsa.
I think that's what was been announced. I believe so. I think if you check, I think that's where it's at. I hope I didn't speak out of turn there, but I believe that's where it's at.
It's supposed to be announced today by OU and Tulsa, was my understanding. So
breaking news.
Well, please forget I said that. I'm sorry. I thought that's what I'd heard. I might have spoken wrong.
Appreciate it.
Zap it. I didn't mean to say that.
all righty.
Never nervous. Come on now. Is it unmuted already?
I think. You guys ready?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Well, the only logical first question would be, is it Christian or Chris?
Christian.
Christian, okay. See, I'm Benjamin, but nobody calls me Ben. I heard in the dugout yesterday, you kind of pursued a foul ball at the end of the game, and everyone on your team was, oh, come on, Chris, that was way out. So I wasn't sure if it was Chris or Christian. But
They say both.
Well, what do you prefer?
Christian.
All right. Well, Christian, I want to ask you about one of the craziest statistics I've seen in a while, which was that you hit 430 at JUCO your sophomore season. Christian, what does that feel like to hit 430 for a season?
Um, I don't know, honestly. It just feels like you're locked in all the time. Feels like no one can get you out. It's honestly a pretty good feeling.
Now, was that the shortened season? Like, how many games?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many games do you think you probably played in that 430 stretch?
25,
Mhm.
25
So
games.
still, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the thing that Josh Holliday kind of told us earlier was that was with a wooden bat. I guess
Yeah.
that's not something I realized. As you talk about the terms of the larger adjustment from Arizona Community College to the Big 12, and also the smaller adjustment of like a wooden bat to an aluminum bat. How did that bat change kind of affect the way you played, or did it?
I like swinging wood better, honestly. In the fall, it was rough switching back over to metal because my freshman and sophomore year were all wood. Haven't swung metal since high school. So switching back over was a little weird, but I got comfortable with it in the springtime. So it hasn't really been too bad now.
Does it just kind of feel different in your hand? Like, what's the difference between that wood and aluminum?
I think the biggest difference is the handle. I like a specific handle with the wood bat, and it never changes. But with the metal bat, you have to like tape it so it can be the exact handle, and the handle gets worn down or ripped, and you have to redo it to get it exactly right. That's probably the hardest part.
So aside from maybe that, what are some of the other adjustments you had to make coming from community college to the Big 12?
Probably just shortening up my swing. I see velo more often here. I mean, we saw velo at the junior college, but you didn't see it as much as we see it here. So now my swing's just a lot more compact and short compared to when I was at the junior college.
And has it been maybe an adjustment? Moving to Oklahoma State. I'm not sure if you had much familiarity with the campus, the school. How are you adjusting off the field?
Off the field, I love it. It hasn't been hard at all. It's been very easy. Everyone here is super friendly, so it hasn't been a hard transition at all.
Was it like had you been to Oklahoma much before coming here to tour?
I've never been over here. No.
So I got to ask, what did you think about that ice storm that we had a couple months ago? That kind of like shut campus down. Was that something new you had to experience, that ice storm?
Kind of, sort of. In the junior college, even though I was in Arizona, I was up in Prescott, so we got a lot of snow there, and it was pretty cold. I've never been under like 10 degrees before, so that was new. It was freezing, but I mean, yeah, it was quite the experience.
I bet it was. Thanks a lot, Christian.
Yeah.
Hey, Christian, can you kind of walk me through the recruiting process with OSU and kind of what led you here?
Well, one of our coaches, Roland, he came out to Arizona. He called me. He made it out to Arizona, watched me practice and play, and that guy can talk your ear off. He got me to come here real quick on a visit. I think he got me to decide in like a day to come on a visit. So within that next day, I was already coming. But once I got here, after that he watched me play, it just felt like home. Everyone was, like I said, everyone was so friendly and nice, and it felt like a family opposed to just a team. Like the coaches really care about you, the players all care about each other, and that just made me want to come here big time.
How did he get you to convinced in a day to come here for a visit?
I honestly couldn't even tell you. He just kept talking, and he just convinced me.
So you're here, you're hitting home runs, making these great plays at third. How do you feel like what's been your biggest development since you've been here, and kind of where'd that come from?
Probably getting on a real strength program. That's probably been the biggest thing for me. Because I mean, at the junior college, we had a strength coach and we lifted, and it was good lifts. But here, we're more on routine and schedule, and we make sure our bodies are well maintained at all points. So I think that's been like the biggest thing that's helped my game.
So in high school, did you have this kind of power? Or is this something that you've kind of unlocked since?
I did in high school. I didn't really display it as much, but I did have the same power. Yeah.
What kind of unlocked it?
My coaches in junior college kind of like switched it over, and they wanted me to hit more for power instead of just trying to get base hits 24/7. Because I make contact a lot of the time, but they wanted me to absolutely swing for it. So I got used to just kind of letting it eat, and that kind of just unlocked it for me mentally and physically.
You get here, is working with Matt Holliday and guys like that, does that unlock it even more?
Yes, big time. They opened up my power to all fields, and that's been a big, big change for me that I like.
How much of an adjustment was it to kind of go to the power hitting mode? Because you're making contact. I mean, you're hitting 420, so you're making contact besides just hitting for power. How big of an adjustment was that for you?
In the fall time, it was hard. I struggled in the fall, but normally when springtime hits, like, I don't know what it is, it just all clicks for me. But in the fall, it was a hard adjustment in the fall.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian, what have your teammates and coaches kind of told you about Bedlam?
What was that?
What have your teammates and coaches kind of told you about Bedlam?
Just big rivalry.
What are the other rivalries you've been a part of? Who is your junior college rival?
What was that? It cut out.
What other rivalries have you been a part of? Who was your junior college rival?
Probably Central Arizona. They were our rivals. Those were always pretty tough games. It was a lot of chirping, a lot of back and forth, and they were good too.
So you say that your teammates told you it's a big rivalry. Have they said anything more about it?
Not so much. Just that big rivalry. Need to be ready to go.
Appreciate it, Christian.
Yep. Is that all?
Thank you. All righty, we'll have Bryce up next.
Whatever.
Bryce, how's it going today?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, what does starting Bedlam tomorrow mean for you, being a kid from Jinx and knowing the rivalry?
Well, since the season got canceled last year, this is my first Bedlam, and honestly, it's a huge honor to get the start against OU, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super excited. I'm gonna try to go to bed about 10 tonight so I can get some sleep. But yeah, I'm really excited and ready to go.
I was gonna ask, how do you keep your emotions in check?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of remind myself that, baseball's a game. So try not to be too emotional or get too worried about things because, it's supposed to be fun and I'm still having fun. And tomorrow's another game, another opportunity, and another chance to go out there and have fun. So
Obviously you know some of these players across the dugout there. What is it going to be like maybe facing some of those guys again? I know you faced like a Jace Borfin and guys like that before.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see how they've progressed since high school. And then, there's some kids on the team that I played with since I was like 7 or maybe younger than that. So it'll be cool to kind of reconnect with those guys that I haven't seen in a while. But that's definitely like a post-game connection. I don't think I'm going to have any kind words for them before the game or during.
Yeah, that's kind of expected. Who are those ones you said you played with since 7?
Connor Beekler and I played baseball together. Honestly, we probably started playing together when we were 5 or 6. And then, I played with Jake Bennett throughout high school. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I don't even know who all's on the roster, but I'm sure
I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'll recognize them tomorrow, or it'll just hit me, and I'll be like, oh, hey, yeah, I remember you guys.
What do you feel like your biggest stride has been this from last season to now?
I would say that I've matured a lot since coming into Oklahoma State. I think definitely last year I did kind of struggle with controlling my emotions. I remember being super anxious about starts and having a lot of external factors play into how I pitched or what was going on in the game. Big crowds, like my A&M start was the most people I've ever seen at a baseball field. So that was pretty new for me. And now I mean, like I said, I've reeled it all back in, I think, and I'm much more comfortable on the mound. And my goal is, to throw every pitch with as much conviction as possible. So that's what I've been working on. And I think it's been a huge jump for me, especially, just becoming a better pitcher. Like, I think that's helped a ton.
And last one for me for now. Is there a routine that you have? Is there something you're doing to keep those emotions in check to kind of relax and be calm?
Not really. I've got my prep day is today. So I'll go into the weight room when we get down in here and take care of my body today. And then I'll go home and, hang out with the guys for a little while, and I'll go to bed and wake up tomorrow and start my start routine, if you will.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryce.
Yep.
Bryce, going to bed at 10 o'clock tonight, that sounds, I'd take that as a fellow college student, man. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I would love that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that would be great.
No, I'm with you. So, hey, I'm guessing you rooted for OSU growing up, right? With your dad and grandpa both going to OSU, right?
Yeah, always been a Cowboy.
So, Bryce, whether it was on TV or maybe you were in the stands or, football, basketball, or maybe even baseball, what's your favorite Bedlam memory?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I remember when I was really young, I remember going to Bedlam football and Bedlam basketball. But for the most part, like, I was so busy with baseball or football or whatever was going on that I wasn't even able to come up and watch any of them. My senior year, they played the Bedlam series at One Oak, and I made it out for that, and I thought it was awesome. I mean, I'm really excited. I think the atmosphere is going to be great. So, I just can't wait to see it all unfold.
You said you were able to go to those, go to that series in person. What was that like?
Honestly, it was exciting because I was 20 minutes from the field. Two, there were a ton of people there, and a lot of them are Tulsa people that I've known forever, and Cowboy fans from near and far. I mean, I don't honestly know what to expect, but I know the pictures and the games that I went to, it was all packed, and there's a lot of orange, so I'm excited for it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, Bryce.
Yeah.